Hello everybody and welcome to the channel. It's Paulie Esther here, and we got a big news day talking about the upcoming reveal of Chapter 16 DLC. Confirmation that it is indeed going to be a licensed character, and we have some news stories that I'm going to share with you now, so let's jump right into it. So the first article I'm going to show you is from the website Bloody Disgusting. I'm going to have links to these articles in the pinned comment as well as in the description of the video. So Bloody Disgusting, the title says, Behavior Interactive to mark 4 years of Dead by Daylight with new chapter featuring new horror license. And here we see the first image of this 4th anniversary logo. Pretty darn cool. And when we get into the meat of the article, it says, in celebration of 4 years of their hit asymmetrical horror game Dead by Daylight, Behavior Interactive has a little something for fans. That something includes a reveal of a new chapter with an iconic horror license set for May 26th at 2 p.m. As with every chapter added to the game, the new DLC will feature a new map, a terrifying new killer, and a mysterious survivor. We are quite excited to celebrate another amazing year in the history of Dead by Daylight, states Matthew Cote, game director on Dead by Daylight and product evangelist for Behavior Interactive. The game is always changing, always improving. We've brought you a lot of really cool stuff this year, and next year will be even more intense. This last chapter is a very emotional milestone for us, and we cannot wait to share it with you. Please come and join us as we celebrate year 4 of Dead by Daylight. Start your guessing as to what the reveal might be. Dead by Daylight is available now on PS4, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, PC, and mobile devices. The second article comes to us from comicbook.com in their gaming section. Dead by Daylight anniversary event will reveal iconic horror license. Dead by Daylight is getting yet another chapter soon, complete with another killer, survivor, and a map, which all come from an iconic horror franchise, according to Behavior Interactive. The developer of the asymmetrical multiplayer game teased the reveal this week in an announcement which asked players to tune into a celebration of the game's 4th anniversary on May 26th at 2 p.m. Eastern to see what's in store. It hasn't been hinted at what the classic license is, but from the sound of it, this seems like a Dead by Daylight chapter to keep an eye on. This reveal will happen both on Twitch and YouTube, when players are able to get a first look at the new chapter planned for Dead by Daylight. Wording in the press release built up the reveal as a big one by saying the unnamed horror license is one that has marked the world of horror since its inception. The biggest parts of these chapters are typically the killers, since they're the most unique characters to play as, but this upcoming 16th chapter will of course have a map and a mysterious survivor alongside the killer. Dead by Daylight chapters are a mix of original content created by Behavior Interactive, such as the Deathslinger, a harpoon shooting killer added in the latest chapter, as well as the inclusion of truly iconic characters like Michael Myers and Freddy Krueger. Every new chapter is highly anticipated since they mean new ways to play the game through more characters and perks that can be acquired by existing survivors and killers, but the licensed chapters have a special appeal to them since they mean players will get to experience playing as fan favorite characters. The game already has numerous horror icons that have been around for a while, which makes it a bit easier to cross off possibilities, but there are still so many to choose from that it makes it difficult to guess what the reveal will be. Perhaps we'll get some more teases building up to the event, but either way, plan on tuning into the anniversary celebration on May 26th to see what's planned. So, let's analyze the wording of this and see, can we narrow it down at all? Okay, so with confirmation that it is a licensed character, it looks like it's going to be a really big one too. I think a lot of fans are out there who have never seen Dead by Daylight who are going to flock to it, and a lot of existing fans are going to be very happy to see whatever this property is brought into the game. Okay, so going through some of the quotes from the press releases here, we have emotional milestone, iconic horror license, classic license, iconic horror franchise, marked the world of horror since its inception, and a mysterious survivor. So let's take some known licenses and put it up as a test against these quotes and see how they fit. So the emotional milestone part, we have to decide, does this mean that this specific chapter is emotional, or just having reached this 4-year mark is emotional? That's a big factor in this, because if we just go by this specific chapter is emotional for the people at Behavior, I don't know if Candyman fits that criteria. Iconic horror license, okay. Classic license, definitely been around since the 90s, right? Iconic horror franchise, well, they did have 3 films. One of them was direct to video, and this new film isn't out yet. So, so on that one for iconic horror franchise. Marked the world of horror since its inception. I'm not sure that Candyman fits that criteria, because the first Candyman movie was only released in North America. When I make these Candyman videos, there are people overseas who don't even know who Candyman is because they've never been exposed to the film, have no idea about Candyman. So I don't think Candyman is a worldwide icon by any means, unless, you know, you're like looking very insular and just looking at the world of Hollywood, the Candyman marked Hollywood, maybe. And Mysterious Survivor, this is probably the point that Candyman hits the most, because it could be Anthony McCoy, who doesn't really know his backstory of being the infant abducted by Candyman, and now he's a grown man, so there's some mystery surrounding him. Or if the survivor was Helen, well, I don't want to do any spoilers about Helen in the first Candyman if you haven't seen it, so yeah, we're gonna leave it at that. Yeah, I don't know how many of these beats Candyman specifically hits. Now, having said that, when you look at this year 4 imagery, we have the black and gold, which are colors of a bee. We have, some people say they think that it's honey just dripped all over the black background, and they even think that the number 4 here we see is dripping in the same manner that the Candyman hook is dripping in the poster. I don't know that I necessarily see that, but you know, it's an idea. And then also we have a person here who works for Dead by Daylight who put out this tweet. Man, this Dead by Daylight anniversary is gonna be pretty sweet. 2 E's and B with a piece of candy. Sweets to the sweet there at the end. This is a associate community manager. Is that what it says? Associate community manager. They work for Behavior. I don't know that they would be allowed to make that tweet if this was genuinely the chapter coming out. So I think this tweet counts against it being Candyman. Next character we're going to match this up against is going to be Jason Voorhees from the Friday the 13th franchise. So if we go through this list again, an emotional milestone. Yes, I believe that getting Jason Voorhees from Friday the 13th in Dead by Daylight would be a huge emotional milestone for Behavior. Why? Well, I think that the Trapper is loosely based, or maybe not so loosely based, on Jason. They've always said that Jason has a standing invitation to join the Dead by Daylight gang at any given time. And I think that if you had Jason in your stable, you would complete that unholy trio or quartet, however you want to look at it, with Jason Voorhees, Michael Myers from Halloween, Freddy Krueger from Nightmare on Elm Street, and Leatherface from Texas Chainsaw Massacre. You would have all of them. It would be the boom, mic drop moment. Now, yes, he fits the emotional milestone. He fits almost all these boxes. Iconic horror license, yes. Classic license, iconic horror franchise. There have been so many Friday the 13th films starring Jason. Marked the world of horror since its inception. Yes, once Jason started getting going in Friday the 13th Part 2, it was slashers galore throughout Hollywood. Definitely affected the world of horror like nobody's business. The Mysterious Survivor part is like, huh? I mean, you would think it's probably going to be Tommy Jarvis. It wouldn't be that mysterious who it would be. Don't know. I don't know that many of these licenses fit that Mysterious Survivor box. Now, of course, the big problem with bringing in Jason is his licensing rights are in legal limbo. They were supposed to have started an appeal on their civil case in February, and with the quarantine, I think all the courts are even shut down, and nothing is happening on that. I don't think you can deal with this license if you don't genuinely know who owns it or who is going to own it. Maybe they work some kind of miracle, but I think that seems like a huge stumbling block, and it wouldn't make sense for them to try and work with whoever thinks they own Jason at this point until the lawsuit is resolved. So that is the big strike against Jason Voorhees. Next license we're going to talk about is the Xenomorph from Alien franchise. Does this ticks the boxes? Emotional? Yeah, I think that's probably a really big franchise to get if you can. Be a huge feather in the cap for Dead by Daylight. You could see that that would be an emotional chapter to bring home for the brand. Iconic horror license, yes. Classic horror franchise, many Alien films. Marked the world of horror since its inception. Yes, it was something that people hadn't seen. It was so different. Horror in space made people think about horror differently. Definitely. Mysterious Survivor, that one's like, you know, would probably have to be Ellen Ripley for sure. That's maybe the only box going against that one, but that is another huge license. Maybe. Next character we're going to look at is Pennywise from It, as written by Stephen King. An emotional milestone, yes, this would be a huge emotional get for Dead by Daylight. We know that Dave Richard and Matthew Cote are both huge fans of Stephen King, and this is a property that they have wanted to bring to Dead by Daylight for quite some time. So yes, if they were able to get Pennywise into the game, that would be an emotional milestone. Now, when you look at some of these other criteria for Pennywise, iconic horror license, okay. Classic license, yeah. Iconic horror franchise, are we counting the Tim Curry miniseries in the 90s? We got 2 recent films. Okay, yeah, maybe we still go with that. Mark the world of horror since its inception. I was going to say no on this one, but if you go back and you're talking about the book, then maybe that's a yes, because it was a pretty well-received book. Stephen King's sold, you know, hundreds of millions of books, so I think that this book did have an impact on a lot of people. So yeah, if you're looking at the book standpoint, Mark the world of horror, and you notice the way that it's worded. The world of horror doesn't say like the film genre, doesn't say horror films, right? So you can give that one a yes if we're talking about the book. And then the whole Mysterious Survivor. Maybe I'm reading too much into this Mysterious Survivor. Why do they have mysterious in quotes? I don't know. Just because we don't know who it is? We don't know who the killer is either. Why is the survivor mysterious? What does that mean? But yeah, I think Pennywise ticks a lot of these boxes here too. Honorable mentions in this category would be Chucky from Child's Play, who I'm told by many people would never work in Dead by Daylight. But let's say that he could. He fits a lot of these boxes here as an iconic horror franchise, an iconic classic license. So yeah, Chucky could be in there. And then the other one I could think of would be Pinhead from Hellraiser, who also marks a lot of these boxes. So we got a lot to chew on, and there's a lot of big licenses being thrown around. Who it's going to be, we're going to have to wait 18 days to find out. Do I even want to bet who it is right now? I don't even know, but I feel like even if I put all my chips on one character and I'm wrong, I still win if it's one of the other ones, because they're all a lot of great licenses, and it really sounds like this is going to be something big coming to Dead by Daylight. If you're making me pick one and I have to bet on something, if I'm betting with my heart, I want to bet on Candyman, but I think I shouldn't bet on that one, and I should go for something else. So if I'm betting with my head, if there weren't any legal problems, I would just say it's Jason, and I would just leave it at that. But I think the legal turmoil surrounding that license, unless Matthew Cote has worked some sort of miracle, I don't see how it can be Jason. But I would bet on Jason if I didn't know that there was legal turmoil. So that leaves me with Alien and Pennywise. And I guess of those two, the wording of this marked the world of horror since its inception. I think I'm going to go with Pennywise. So pushing it all in on Pennywise. We'll see what happens. I win even if I lose, because it's going to be something really great. And hey, maybe it isn't even going to be something that's on this list of characters that I went over at all. Somebody just showed me this image that the number 4 of the Dead by Daylight logo perfectly mimics pyramid head shape of his head. But, oh geez, I hope it's not that. I mean, nothing against Silent Hill, but I just have it built up really big in my head as something massive. And, hey, you know, I always like to dream big, think big, so maybe it is something smaller like a Silent Hill, but I'm thinking that it's going to be something that is in wider spread media that's going to get a lot of people flock to it, like a movie character. So we won't have long to wait, but it's going to feel like a long time for May 26th to get here. But I can't wait to see who it is. Thanks for hanging out with me and listening to me just blab and try and dissect all of this. And what does it mean? And I don't know. It's such a head scratcher. And I love it. I really love that I have no idea. I can make a case for so many of these characters right now. And I can't wait to see who it really is. Thanks for watching, everybody. Take care of each other in and out of the fog. And we'll see you next time. Stay safe, everybody. Bye-bye.